If you're in Seattle, and you need to buy or sell a home, we'll be right there for you. Because we're the realtors that you can trust. So go to ronanddonsitdown.com.
You're listening to The Ron and Don Show on the Ron and Don Radio Network.
Hey, you guys, what's going on? Welcome to episode 876 now. Actually, yeah, 876 of the Ron and Don Show. It's a Friday. It must be a real estate only podcast.
What is up, Ron and Don Nation?
Hey, every Monday, Wednesday, Thursday, we kind of give you what we've always given you when we've done terrestrial radio. But on Friday, we like to talk about real estate.
Yeah, we do one segment. It's about 15 minutes long. Don and I are real estate brokers, and we would love to partner with you to be a part of your real estate journey.
All right. I have some mail here.
Oh, you do?
Yeah. Can we open up the mailbag and can we use Matt's song and then
You'll read it.
Go ahead. Yes.
He's mad off the mic behind the scene, don't you know? It's mailbag time on the Ron and Don Show. It's mad off the mic behind the scene, don't you know? It's mailbag time on the Ron and Don Show. It's mad off the mic.
Dear guys, my name is Ron. I'm on podcast with a very handsome man. Mondays, Wednesdays, and Thursdays, but on Fridays. Anyway, I have a question. I just read an article that says why the average home buyer needs a realtor. Can you guys tell me more? And this is from, and I don't know why he's sad, but it's from Sad Ron in South Lake Union.
It feels like you just made that email up.
Nope. Matt handed it to me. This is certified United States mail, correct?
Can I ask a question?
Sure.
How come I have a song. It's the whole point of the song is that I do the mail.
So you're upset about this.
He raises a good point.
Well,
I wouldn't say I'm upset. I just confused.
Well, some people felt like you were making the mail up, and so I said I'm going to take the mail over.
Oh, so this is
mail.
This is
yeah. We got a lot of mail. Got a lot of mail.
Now we're
some
going to
people
do this.
say the greatest mail.
Yeah, we got a lot of mail. And it said you're making the mail up. So I said, you know what?
So this there's actually an article in Dwell magazine. This edition, or I don't know if it's in the edition, print or online.
Which is a magazine about dwellings.
Correct. It's sort of an interior design architecture magazine.
It's cool.
And the author of this article was talking about, she's a first-time home buyer. And so she's talking about how the NAR lawsuit that went down, it's almost 2 years ago now, has changed the landscape for buyers and sellers. And so she sort of did a deep dive on, as a first-time home buyer, did this help her or hurt her, the lawsuit that happened, in terms of not only how the commissions are paid and the compensation of the agents, but did it benefit her in the buying process?
Yep.
And so one of the interesting takeaways that she has is, in her state, this doesn't necessarily apply in Washington, but in her state, part of this settlement between the NAR and the Department of Justice was to not disclose now what the seller would offer for a buyer's broker compensation, which is how real estate's been done in America for decades and decades. And so that information is now sequestered or taken out of the listings. And so some brokerages around America are trying to go to a flat fee model. And so she talks about some of the bigger brokerages in her state are coming out with these programs where they say, hey, buyers, just come to us and a la carte, you can order up what you want for the representation. And so let's just say you found the house, you want to write an offer. The example she gave, there's a big brokerage there, $1,000. We'll write the offer, we'll submit the offer for $1,000.
What could go wrong?
What could possibly go wrong?
What could go wrong?
So that's it. And then there's other things that you can add on to this in terms of the a la carte representation. And so some of the bigger firms that have a lot of volume are trying to do approaches like that. And so she goes through her experience of going, wait a minute, So let's say that she's like, I don't know home inspections. I don't know about sewer scopes. She's like, I don't know any of these things. And so if I just have the contract out there, I spend $1,000, so I'm saving money on that. But what if I have a sewer line that needs a $30,000 or a $50,000 repair because I had no idea I was supposed to inspect that? So it's like this model that is starting to emerge seems to help sellers. She's like, she gives an example of a Chicago area home that sold for over $10 million. And that person did a flat fee brokerage of $8,000 to sell that house as a $10 million home. She's like, that's great for those sellers. But for buyers like me that are just buying their first home, bread and butter house, it's probably going to be older construction because that's what I can afford. So like, it seems like a landmine to not be represented beyond an a la carte type of service. And in Washington, we get a little of this with like a Redfin will go, oh, we'll represent your listing for 1% if you do a buy and a sell with that. There's all kinds of fine print with that. But people are trying to figure out, is there a way to undercut the system to charge less across the board? And yet she points out beautifully some of the pitfalls of this logic of the representation is not just contract writing. It's also knowing and identifying the blind spots of sellers and buyers and saving them a lot of money. You and I just did a sit down yesterday of some folks that are like, we're thinking about representing ourselves here. It may or may not be a good idea.
Well, I talked to them 2 months ago, and they want to represent themselves, and I said, go for it. And then they called me 4 days ago and said, hey, we're out here trying to represent ourselves, and this property is pretty complex, and someone's passed away, and there's a probate issue, and a title issue, and a neighbor issue, and there's a lot of issues here that we don't know about. And I said, well, I'll keep giving you some free advice, but at some point you have to decide whether you're going to hire us or hire someone else to do it yourself. This is what I tell everyone. Everyone gets focused on the commission, and everyone gets focused on the commission because they don't want to be taken advantage of, and they don't want to look like a fool, and everybody wants a deal. And so the most important thing that you should do if you're interviewing an agent, when you sit down with them, one of the first questions you should ask them, whether it's on the buy side, the sell side, or the invest side, is if you're selling a home, show me homes that you've sold. Show me homes in my neighborhood that you sold. Show me homes in my region that you showed. Show me how you present the home. Show me the materials that you use. How do you market this home? Who pays for what?
Have you had any escalated offers?
Then show me some of these homes and show me some of the results that you have had compared to other neighbors or other realtors in that particular neighborhood. Give me some people that I can call. Give me the last 5 homes that you sold. Is it okay if I call 3 of those people? I like their names and numbers, and I'd be no one's ever asked me any of these things. But since I'm a realtor or a broker now, I think about if I was ever going to sit down again and not use us, but use somebody else in a transaction, I wouldn't get focused on the commission at first. I would be focused on the service. Same on the buy side. Like, do you have pocket listings? In other words, are there listings out there that aren't on the MLS right now that you know about? And can you tell me about those listings? Can I speak to people that you've helped buy properties? How good of a negotiator are you? Do you usually sell at list price or for less? Do you believe in going early on an offer? What kind of leverage do you have in the community on social media? Are you active on social media?
Have you ever caught a huge repair that needed to happen?
Yeah, because anyone can get a real estate license, but what is your unique differentiator? And then on the investment side, if I want to buy this property and turn it into 3 doors, because 3 doors mean 3 checks versus 1 door is 1 check, I don't know how to run a short-term rental or a long-term rental or a mid-term rental. Do you do that? Show me homes in your portfolio where you have bought homes, invested yourself, rehab those, and now you're a buy and hold investor. Show me. Ask people on the buying, selling, investing, and then negotiate the commission. And they say, okay, well, let's negotiate the commission now. If you have a home that your mom or dad left for you, has an incredible amount of deferred maintenance, and you don't know who a roofer is from a contractor that can come in and fix the floor, I was recently in a home where someone had passed away in that home, and they had been in that home for a long time when they passed away. And it really affected, and I won't go into the details of what was happening in that home, but it was very sad what happened in that home, and the construction project was pretty immense in that home. Well, if we're going to come in and we're going to run this construction project for you, and we're going to bring in all the contractors, and on top of that, we're going to get you better prices than someone else could get because of the relationships that we have, then yeah, you're going to pay me a full commission. You're going to pay me a full commission for that. And here's the reason why. And usually when we do that at the end of that, because we get people a lot more money than they thought they were going to get, because we help them flip the home themselves, and they're like, wow, I don't feel like I've paid you guys enough money. And as far as the transaction goes, I'm never worried about AI stepping in and fully taking over these transactions, because there's so many things that go wrong because humans are involved in this transaction. The best thing a real estate agent can do is learn how to use AI, just like everybody else in our industry. How can I use that as a tool versus worrying about that replacing my job? And then sometimes you may have already located a property. You know you want to buy it. You need someone to write up the contract for you, and it's all going to be smooth sailing for there. You may want to pay less for that and say, hey, I don't want to pay you a full commission for that because I've gone out, I've done the work, I've done the due diligence, I know what I'm going to do with this property. When I buy the property, I don't need you on the other side. I'm not going to call you and ask for a roofer or someone to fix the floor or pour the driveway. I'm not, because that's the other thing on the side where the agent is helping you buy. Usually if you're buying a property that has a lot of deferred maintenance, you should go back to that agent who has connections and say, hey, can you help me kind of wrangle up and put in sequence all the people and all the trades that are going to help me fix this property, so I'm not offline for a year. I want to be offline for 4 months and then bring it back online, and I want to start paying down the debt service on this. So make sure, people get so focused on commission, so focused on that. Find out what your broker, your agent, your realtor, find out the unique differentiator of what they do, and if they don't have one, then don't pay for that service and don't use that real estate agent.
And I agree with everything you just said. And the other thing, and I never have gotten this, why do people use their family member that's never done a deal to do their deal?
Or why do you not use a family member that has done a deal? And when people say, I don't do deals with family and I don't deal with friends, I do. Like, I totally would do deals with friends, and I would totally do deals with certain family members because I trust them. It's the family member, though, that went and just got their license, and now you're going to use them in a situation where you're selling a $1.5 million house, and they've never done that before, but you're going to ask them to help you, and maybe because they're kicking the part of the commission back to you, don't do that, because there are going to be things that come up in the deal. And instead of getting that commission kickback, you could end up losing your earnest money, for instance. You could lose $50,000 or $100,000. So you want to make sure that you have a trained professional. If that trained professional is your family member or your friend, I would consider using that person. I would do business with family and friends. I always hear people say that, and I don't get that. Anyway, anything else you want to share?
No, it's complicated. That's why we want to represent you, and we're good at it.
Yeah. Hey, you guys, thanks for listening to this episode of the Ron and Don Show. Whether you're thinking about buying, selling, investing, always make sure when you first sit down, whether it's with us virtually on a sit down, ask us what we do. What uniquely do we bring to the deal that is leverage for you that can help in the transaction? And really understand the transaction, and then talk about compensation, then talk about commission. And don't forget, the commission on both sides of the deal, that's always been negotiable, but a lot of real estate agents were hiding that. I had a friend call me the other day, and she said, I should have used you. Because I've ended up being her real estate agent as she's selling this property. And she's like, yeah, you wouldn't believe this. We're about to go to market. A contract was just sent to me, and she's asking for 3% on both sides of the deal, full commission. I said, but yeah, you did all the work. And she's like, yeah, I know. And I said, and she's not supposed to be presenting that to you when you're hanging the flag and going up for sale tomorrow. That conversation was supposed to happen in the beginning of this transaction, not at the end. That's why real estate agents got in trouble and big brokerage house got in trouble, because by the time you get the flag is being hung, you have signed so much paperwork, you're out of gas. Some of those realtors out there and some of those real estate agents and brokers, they know that. And that's one of the reasons why they have you sign your paper then, because you're not paying attention. So pay attention. RonandDonSitDown.com when you need us. RonandDonSitDown.com. We'll sit down virtually, and then we'll come out. We'll bring you a Ron and Don mug, and we'll say, we sat down with Ron and Don. So we'd love to hear from you today. Get signed up for a sit down. And if you need our buyer's playbook or our seller's playbook, just reach out to us too on social media. I'm Don O'Neill. He's Ron Upshaw. Till next time, keep your head up and shoulders back. And don't forget, you've been listening to the Ron and Don Show. We sell the sound only on the Ron and Don Radio Network.
Well, that's it. Show's over. We'll see you next time on the Ron and Don Radio Network.